Guys, this is a good one. I am so excited for today's video, and I am so glad that y'all are here. Today's video is a conversation with my friend CurlyColleen. She is here on YouTube, on Instagram. She has her own website. She has all the things, and she's an amazing wealth of knowledge and has absolutely gorgeous hair. She invited me to a seminar that she was holding on how to pick the products for your hair. Like which products will actually work for your hair and how to use discernment to pick products for yourself. I sure hope you enjoy this conversation. You guys really seem to like the longer style videos from my previous video. This is kind of like a podcast style video. It's a Zoom call. We just chit chat all things hair for a good long time. I am so glad to get to hang out with y'all and to share this conversation with y'all. And without further ado, let's get into the video.
This computer. Here we go. Okay, welcome to the How to Choose the Right Curly Hair Products workshop with myself and the beautiful Courtney. Thanks for joining us, Courtney. Okay, so we're gonna get started. We always have people that jump on halfway through or catch the recording. So we'll get started here and then they can catch that, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. So why don't you go first introducing yourself, Courtney, and just tell us a little bit about your hair and how you got in this journey, and then I'll talk about that and then we'll dive into the topic.
Well, I'm Courtney, AKA Swavy Curly Courtney. Swavy meaning S waves, type of curl pattern, all the way to curly. It's very normal to have multiple different curl types all over your head. I have fine, low porosity, wavy hair. If you want to do a bulk category on my hair, it tends to fall more in the wavy than in the curly. I started playing around with the Curly Girl method way back in May of 2018. And I did that because of a sweet, sweet coworker who came into work with beautiful curls one day. And I thought, I need to get me some of that. Started playing around with it and absolutely fell in love with the whole process and helping people get the healthiest hair that they've ever had in their life, and really honestly embracing how they are fearfully and wonderfully made. That has been a new passion and I love it.
Awesome. I love that. I've been loving watching your journey just from forever now, and also just how much your hair has changed. And I think ultimately in your before and afters, like your hair just looks so healthy and vibrant and shining, which is like, at the end of the day, the biggest goal for me is for people to get their healthiest hair, right?
Right.
So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Colleen. I've had curly hair my whole life. I just never really embraced it or wore it. I struggled a lot with just like thinking it was pretty, not thinking that it can be fancy. And I was the only one in my family with it, the only one of all of my friends that had curly hair. And so I just straightened it like forever. And it wasn't until after I had my kids that I was just like, I need to start learning about my hair. And that's when I started the Curly Girl method. I don't really follow the Curly Girl method. I don't know if you don't follow it like strictly, right, Courtney? Yeah. Like a modified type situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But one of the reasons I wanted to do this workshop is I feel like the confusion around products is a huge problem, just because between marketing and then also the vast spectrum of ways.
There's so many options now. Like, I feel like over the last 5 years, even the number of options is completely and utterly overwhelming. And there are so many companies out there screaming for your dollar that it's really hard to know which direction to actually go.
Totally agree. Also, because the spectrum is so large for curly and wavy and hair, that the marketing can be deceiving. Sometimes it's spot on, but sometimes it can be deceiving. And so then people are like, oh, it's just like my curls stink, or this isn't for me.
Right.
and kind of throw in the towel. I was in that camp, like in college, like I started really trying, and it wasn't as marketed back then. Like, I don't feel like there were as many curly hair products back then. But even when I started like really trying to figure out what the curly girl method was and all of that, I just felt so confused. And I did spend a lot of money on products. So that's why I wanted to do this workshop, just to kind of clarify and then give people, and the other thing, you probably get this all the time too, Courtney, like people always message me and are like, can you just tell me exactly what to buy? And I'm like, It's just not that simple, because it's so different with weather and hormones and hair and all that stuff. So yeah, after a lot of years and hours and YouTube videos, testing and experimenting, I have found what has worked really well for my hair. And I do love my hair most days. I do have days still that I'm like, oh, it would be nice to have, you know, straight hair with big curls. But at the end of the day, I do really love my curls. So
yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to choosing products, I thought we could do kind of a Q&A. Like I could question you, like you're, you know, like I'm a new person to it. And then I can add in anything that like my perspective on it. Cause I wanted to give people a wide perspective on the topic. So if I were like brand new to the curly girl method and I was just like, what do I do? Like, how do I pick products? Like, rather than saying like, oh, go get this product, what would you say to someone?
The curly girl method, the ground rules are really great training wheels. And that is how you learn to ride this bike. You start with the training wheels and then you take them off, and then maybe you try a different style bike. Maybe you like a road bike. Maybe you like a mountain bike. Maybe this, maybe that. But you start with the training wheels on the kiddie bike. And that is to look for products that are sulfate-free, silicone-free, and drying alcohol free. What this whole process is designed to do is hydrate the hair, because hair that is wavy or curly tends to be drier and moisture deficient as compared to people with perfectly straight hair. Now, here's the cool thing. 99% of humans on this planet do not have perfectly straight hair. Yes, that is a very accurate statistic that you can go and Google. Just kidding. I don't know the stats on actual percentages of people with perfectly bone straight hair and people who do have the odd bend and wave in the hair. This is my 100% air dried hair. I didn't do anything to it. It's not straight. It's not curly. It's not even really wavy now. Thank you, pregnancy. Woohoo! It is funny how much hormones can affect the hair.
Yeah.
So the baseline is sulfate, silicone, and drying alcohol free. These are just training wheels. You're going to sub out your terry cloth towel for a microfiber towel or a t-shirt. Cotton t-shirt, great substitution. You probably have one in your closet that you can repurpose now for drying your hair. I would recommend getting something like a wet brush. I hate wide tooth combs with a burning passion, so I don't recommend them to anyone because they just rip hair out and shred it. But that tends to be what most people are taught. You know, they say, oh, switch from a brush to a wide tooth comb. I would suggest just switching to a brush with very bendy bristles instead of those really straight, inflexible bristles that kind of rip through the tangles in the hair. The bendy bristles kind of gently untangle everything without the ripping. And to sub out your old hair ties for something like a silk or satin scrunchie and or an Invisibobble, which are those hair ties that look like a phone cord, or those 90s keychains that we used to play with all the time. Doing those few things just to start are super helpful. You will want and or need, product category wise, something to cleanse your hair with, something to condition your hair with, some sort of conditioning agent to leave in the hair. Yes, conditioning and conditioning agent to leave in the hair are two different things, and some sort of styler. I typically recommend to start with a gel. Ironically, it's the most user-friendly. A lot of people want to grab a curl cream. Please don't. Start with a gel, because when you start this process, your curls are very, very fragile. Your curl clumps are very fragile because of years of styling your hair straight, switching to styling your hair wavy curly. Your curls really need something like a gel to help hold them in your curl clumps, hold in that moisture to nurture them while they get back to their healthiest state.
Okay, I love that. First of all, can you clarify a little bit why you don't recommend a curl cream right away? Is it just because it doesn't have as much hold as a gel?
Absolutely. And they tend to build up on the hair faster than other products. They tend to be less water soluble. It's harder to find a purely water soluble curl cream. They tend to be really, really heavy. And most people, when they start this process, they put this curl cream in their hair. They're expecting to have luscious, shiny curls, and they have a lot of frizz, and it only gets frizzier throughout the day. Their hair gets weighed down and built up very quickly, because when you switch to sulfate-free cleansers, your cleansing technique has to change. You have to become much more intentional about how you cleanse your hair. It's much more easy to get buildup from a buildup prone product when you start this process. And so they grab a curl cream because they don't want the crunchy curls. And 2 weeks later, they're back to styling their hair straight because their hair looked absolutely horrible, more so than if they had used something with just a little bit more hold.
Okay. I love that. Okay. I want to back up a little bit. This is what I like to teach right off the gate too, is understanding your hair. I think that there is a little bit of a super excited about wanting to bring your curls back, and you just want to go out and buy stuff. That's how I wanted to do it. And I think what's dangerous about that is you end up with something like a Shea Moisture or Cantu product or whatever, and a curl cream, and you start putting it in, don't see results, and then you're instantly just like, oh, this didn't work. This wasn't for me. Okay. I did that like when I first got married 7 years ago with the curly girl method. And then I didn't touch it, and I didn't wear my hair curly for years because of that. So I like to talk about, in a way, I don't like to get people to obsess over their curl pattern or their porosity or their density or their, but in the same token, it is important. So I would think that before you do any of that, starting to understand, first of all, different curl patterns, like mine and Courtney's hair is obviously completely different. Mine is more of a medium rather than fine. So that plays a role. How much curl you have will depend on like the stylers you're using. So it's important to go through and figure out like, what is your porosity? I'm sure there's probably some people that are jump on here that are like, they don't even really know what the porosity is. And the porosity refers to your hair's ability to hold in moisture and protein and everything, or leave it. So your hair has like little cuticles that are kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's kind of like shingles on a house. They lay on top of each other, and whether they're lifted up or laying flat determines if your hair is high porosity or low porosity. Things that can increase the porosity of your hair would be like getting highlights, going blonder, lots of heat, chemical straightening treatments, chemical curling treatments, AKA a perm. Mm-hmm. All of these things can really raise your hair's porosity over time. Mechanical friction, extreme dryness. So if you are the kind of person who swims in a chlorinated pool every single day without a swim cap, and you don't wash and or condition your hair ever, your hair is going to be higher porosity due to the extreme dry conditions.
And even with that, there's still a genetic role porosity plays. Like there is a certain amount of porosity your hair is that sometimes, even if it's healthiest state, it will still not be quite as tight. So what Courtney's talking about, like the shingles, just to go back to that, is when your hair is highly porous, it means those shingles are lifted. So it allows moisture and everything to flow in and out, and it doesn't hold that as long. Mm-hmm. So with hair like that, you can usually get away with more moisture, depending on what the moisture is, or it might need more protein to rebuild those cuticles. And so
higher porosity hair in general absorbs so much more product in general. So you can kind of determine what you want your hair to suck up and eat by which products you put on it.
And it also tends to lose moisture quickly as well because it can't hold it in, unless there's things you can do to try to get that cuticle to close. But this is just like a general thing. So like, would you agree, Courtney, that like people need to know their porosity in order to understand the way products? You don't agree. Okay. Let me hear your argument on that then. I would love to hear that.
I have a controversial curly hair opinion.
Okay.
I am not certified in any way, shape, or form. This is just speaking from my personal experience from having coached people for 2 years at this point. I've talked to so many different people. I believe it is a complete myth that your hair can naturally be high porosity. I wildly disagree with this.
Okay.
So when the hair grows out of the head at the root, all the cuticles are going to be laying down smooth. Now, environmental factors, genetic factors can lead to the hair becoming higher porosity more quickly than other people. So I am an incredibly oily, greasy human. It is, and I have a looser curl pattern. That oil is going to travel all the lengths of my hair. It's going to lubricate those shingles, those cuticle layers, and allow them to move past each other without.
And you have low porosity?
From root to tip. Also, very, very natural for you to have low porosity here, medium porosity here, and high porosity here. I'm pointing to the ends of my hair. So we also don't need to know our porosity because each head of hair has like 3 separate different porosities, and it kind of is a gradient. It slowly changes. The ends of your hair are more likely going to be more porous than the root. So if you have incredibly coarse hair, meaning that each individual hair strand has lots and lots of substance, and combined with a very dry scalp. Some people have dry skin, dry scalp. Your hair is going to become more porous more quickly, which has led to the misconception that hair can be naturally high porosity. Whereas if that person with really coarse hair and very dry scalp used artificial oil methods like a constant scalp massage with a curly hair friendly oil, using products that were deeply moisturizing, I find it very hard to believe that they couldn't maintain the low porosity of their hair from root to tip by dialing in the products that they needed.
Okay. I like that. I think one thing I'd like to just add or just even get your thoughts on is I still think it is important to be aware of even what parts of your hair are what. Like you're saying mine is, I have like medium to high porosity and it's more medium at the top.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about it, like coming out the same, but is more prone to change quicker. Could be genetically. I think that is because I do feel like no matter what I do, my hair is more prone to be high porosity.
You have a tighter curl pattern as well, which is something I didn't hit on. Any oils your scalp does produce don't travel down the entire lengths of your hair as quickly because they've got more ground to cover than they do on my hair, which tends to be more straight.
Gotcha. So what I like to, when I say like, I think it's important for people to know, and you don't even necessarily need to know the term like high porosity. It could just be like, I think it's important because I style my hair, and this is like super confusing to some people, especially newer people. I style different parts of my hair in different ways because like the back nape of my neck tends to be lower porosity than the top of my hair, and the ends are higher porosity than the top. So I know like, okay, I need to focus my deep conditioner more in these areas. And sometimes I'll skip the deep conditioner in the nape of my neck because it's almost too moist or too moisturized. And
that is where you focus the color. You focus the color on the top. You're going to be higher porosity on the top because the highlighting is going to open up that hair cuticle. Yeah.
And so if I treated this part of my head the same as this part, it over moisturized the nape of my neck. And that's when that curl pattern falls out. I hear a lot of people like the nape of my neck, the curl pattern's falling out. For me personally, that is because sometimes I'll even put protein just there and then moisturize the rest and it balances it. So I do think it's important that you are aware this is a thing. Like you're not crazy that the tips of your hair are different than the top or the nape of your neck is weird. Like that you're not crazy. That is totally normal. And even like back to what Courtney had said in the beginning, like it's super normal to have multiple curl patterns. I have like S waves to like complete ringlets throughout my head. That is not abnormal at all.
Absolutely. Multiple curl patterns, multiple porosities. So for someone who is riding the bike with the training wheels, I think knowing porosity, knowing curl pattern is almost too overwhelming.
Okay. I like that. That's a good point.
So if you are just riding the training wheels, you're not, let's say you're even on like the Tonka trike, you're not even to the bike with the training wheels yet. All you need to worry about is getting you a sulfate-free cleanser, a conditioner that you rinse out of your hair, a conditioner that says leave-in conditioner, and a gel. Start with 4 products. It is so easy to start ping-ponging around this product. These are curls in a bottle. This is the product that's going to make my hair magical. Oh, I use it one time. That didn't work. Quick, run out and go buy another one. Unfortunately, I did that. It really gave me a ginormous headache when people pick their 4 products and stick to it religiously for 1 month. They begin to figure out how much leave-in conditioner their hair needs, how much gel their hair needs, how long do they actually need to spend scrubbing their scalp to get their scalp thoroughly clean. When you start using sulfate-free cleansers, you have to up the amount of mechanical cleansing that you do because there's less chemical cleansing power. There's not those harsh sulfates in it stripping your hair to its bare bones. You begin to figure out, oh, if I do a squish to condition with my rinse out conditioner, my hair feels way more slimy and hydrated. And oh my goodness, it actually like soaked up this rinse out conditioner. How cool. All these things are about touch and feel and learning your hair. I find too, when somebody's riding the bike with the training wheels, trying to jump in to full blown curly girl method where you use 2 products, a conditioner to wash your hair and a gel is like not good. It's disastrous.
So can you go ahead? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say to transition over to use a shampoo that is sulfate, silicone, and drying alcohol free. It can even say shampoo on it, just so long as it doesn't contain these ingredients is great. Foams, lathers, you've picked yourself a good product. And if you're wondering if your product contains these ingredients or not, there are websites that are great to use to check if the ingredients are curly hair friendly or not. My personal favorite is isitcg.com. Okay, sorry.
Also, I feel like because it's becoming more known that we're trying to stay away from those products, I've noticed lately most products will say on them, does not contain these things. So can you say again just the first 4 products that people should start with for 30 days and not stray from that? I love that. Like that's something that I need to talk about more because I do think it's easy to do it like once or twice and then be like, okay, I got to switch it up.
Right.
And so what are the 4 products that they should start with?
They're just categories, really. Okay. And you need a product, 1 product for each category. Cleanser, rinse out conditioner, leave-in conditioner, and a gel.
Now, you do talk about a clarifying wash though to start, right?
So I've been doing some research.
Okay.
And if you stick with that routine for 30 days, by the end of the 30 days, guess what? All residual silicone buildup will be gone.
How is that? Just because go ahead.
While the gentle surfactants that are now being found more commonly in the shampoos don't remove all silicone in one wash, they remove some each time you wash your hair.
Okay.
They do actually have the chemical cleansing power, even though they're weaker, they're less effective than a sulfate. It's not going to strip it all in one go. It will chip away at the silicone buildup for that whole month.
Okay.
Interesting, huh?
It is very interesting. I love the idea of a clarifying wash just because it's such a great way. You can feel it. Like you can.
It's instant gratification.
Yeah, and I like to get people quick results because it motivates them to keep going. I do like that, just simplifying that you just need these 4 products. For those of you who might feel a little bit lost, there is a concept. The other concept to that is before you start doing this like curly journey, you get a clarifying wash, which is something that is, I mean, you can get it at any drugstore. And it is basically meant to strip your hair down of any buildup. And that's the part that I love about a clarifying wash is most people have so much buildup, they don't even realize it. Like I can see it walking around. It's like people's buildup. And so when you do that and you start it, it's like you can feel it after the first wash that your hair is clean. And then you move forward with that, like with the products that Courtney had just talked about.
I actually deeply and strongly believe that if you are going to strip your hair down to bare bones, it's really squeaky clean, thou shalt deep condition for 30 minutes minimum after clarifying. So what this does is it adds 2 more products.
Right.
And most people that I have talked to who are interested in doing this maybe have 2 hair products in their cabinet. Mm-hmm. And now they want to start wearing their hair wavy curly. And you tell them, oh yeah, go out, buy 15 products. Here we go. Whee! They're like, how many? How much money am I spending on my hair? Now, granted, there are very affordable options in each and every single one of these categories, but still, they go from having 2 products in their cabinet to 6 minimum, bare bones minimum.
Yeah. So I like that simplifying. The other thing is it all depends on your hair type as well.
Yeah.
Like Courtney's hair type would do better with this method because you probably can get away with not having deep conditioner. Is that right?
No.
So in those 4 products though, you would just set a conditioner. You don't think they should get a deep conditioner to start?
Not when you're riding with the training wheels. When you're ready to take the training wheels off,
really?
You can start adding stuff in. Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, I like to start with a deep conditioner. And I think that's just because like my hair, it just like literally transforms my hair. Even if it's literally the cheapest thing you can find at Target.
Those Garnier 1-minute hair masks are epic.
Yeah, even Shea Moisture. I know it's heavy and it has some heavy products. But
there's a couple of interesting ones from there that I kind of like. There's some real awful products.
Yes, there is. The one, I think it's Repair and Restore Growth with like Jamaican black castor oil.
Everyone loves that one. Yeah.
My hair loves that. So for me, and I like what you're doing to keep it simple with those 4 products. For me, I tend to tell people like grab a deep, just because products are so affordable, like grab a deep conditioner as well. And so really you do have choices. Like you can keep it simple, or if you want to grab like a deep conditioner and a clarifying wash that I still think it would be an extra $10 to $20 because you can get some of those clarifying washes for like $4, can't you?
So I'm so frustrated at Suave because Suave had the absolute perfect clarifying shampoo product. It was so simple. It was so basic. And it's very funny because a lot of people who are like, okay, I want to start wearing my hair wavy curly. What do I go out and buy? And they're using maybe
Monet, maybe they're using Caritas, maybe they're using Biolage, and they're like using these really nice high-end products, and you tell them to go out and buy a bottle of Suave. They're like,
yeah.
what? Anyway, Suave changed its formula. It's now awful. I blame COVID supply chains. Before COVID, it was fine. Then they had to reformulate, and I'm assuming it's because they couldn't get their raw ingredients anymore. Anyway, it was awesome. You could buy this for 99 cents. Now, the closest thing that I found formula-wise that is a dupe, it's really close, is the Neutrogena anti-residue shampoo. It's like $5.99 from Target. I like it. It's a small little bottle. You're not going to be using this very often. This is something that you're going to keep in your cabinet to clarify and deep condition with once a month. Pick up some different little satchels, deep conditioning packs. I think they go for like $1.99 or so. It's not great. I feel like $1.99 for a single-use product is kind of expensive. So if you find one of those satchels that you like, then you can buy the full size. Yeah.
Yes. And it also still allows, like, for $10 more, you do have the option to grab a clarifying wash and a little deep conditioner and kind of start with a clean slate. So the options on those are either to get the 4 products Courtney talked about and then add in a clarifying and a deep conditioner. Or if you want to be patient and, just let your hair do its thing for 30 days, which is great, you can keep it simple with the 4 products.
Right. And wow, I need coffee. Give me coffee. I was focusing on who is just starting this process, who's feeling overwhelmed. Where do you start? Just tell me what to pick. Just tell me what to pick. I don't recommend necessarily specific brands and specific products because everyone's hair is so different. Coarser hair types tend to require way more moisture. They do, whether they're wavy or coily. They require deeply moisturizing products. They're very easily overstripped. So there's like a whole set of category products for somebody with very, 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 very coarse hair. Then there's medium coarseness hair, which most people fall into, which means they need some cleansing, some moisture, probably some protein involved in there somewhere. And then you have fine hair, which tends to really not need a whole lot of moisture. There's way less layers of hair cuticle for water and ingredients to have to penetrate through for the hair to have to soak up. So fine hair tends to, even when it's low porosity, soak up more product than very, very, very coarse hair. Mm-hmm. And I am assuming that all of these hair types are lower porosity versus higher porosity. Interestingly enough, very coarse, high porosity hair also behaves like low porosity, fine hair. Mm-hmm. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can get lost in the weeds very, very, very quickly when you start trying to recommend blanket products for every single head of human hair to go out and purchase and start using.
I agree. And that's why I'm a huge fan of people understanding at least some things to look for with their hair. And also keeping track of like, okay, I use these products on this day for 30 days, and this is how I use it. So I'm a huge proponent of like keeping track of what your hair is doing, how it's reacting to those products before you make a snap judgment of like, it's been a week or two and
I've washed my hair twice and it's looked terrible for 2 weeks, right? Because you're only washing your hair once a week.
Right. So, and that is why it is hard to make blanket statements or like blanket, this is exactly what you do, because it's so different. The spectrum is just huge. And even within that, certain, like you just said, coarse, high porosity hair acts like fine, low porosity hair. So, yeah, that's interesting. Do you have anything else to add to that portion?
Yes. Okay. When you start doing this, you tend to get really excited. If you are being locked into sticking to the 4 products, there are actually apps now that you can download on your phone that allow you to talk about all the things and keep really good records. My favorite one that I found so far is Quinn, Quinn.
You can take pictures of your wash day. You can write down what the weather was, what the dew point was, which products you used, how much you used, how long you diffused, when you scrunched out the crunch, how long and how well your hair lasted. It's all the things you could possibly want. I wish this thing had existed when I started in May of 2018. I would have never started an Instagram page for my hair.
Exactly. So yeah, and that to me is like where you actually really can find the right products because you're tracking and you understand, and also troubleshoot, because oftentimes it's user error. Oftentimes yes, it's product too, but like you can have the most magical unicorn product, and if you don't know how to use it, you're not even going to realize that it's just if you tweaked a few things. Like some of my products is as simple as just dribbling a little bit of water and mixing it together. And it's like a game changer.
Yeah.
So, pro tracking, all that stuff. I wanted to transition next into once they get through their 30 days and their hair is looking cleaner, they understand it a little bit better, but like it's not, obviously it's not where they want it to be. Usually transitioning doesn't take 30 days and you're like good and you know what's going on.
It usually takes months.
Right. I feel like 6 months was when I really started seeing results.
8.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 6 months was when I really started seeing results, and it still wasn't perfect. So yeah. Let's say when people get done with their 30 days, they've used these products. What are their next steps?
This is when, if you feel like it, you can start dipping your toe into experimenting with maybe different stylers or different cleansers or a different rinse out conditioner or a different leave-in conditioner. You might sub in a curl cream in the leave-in conditioning step and see what that does. Ooh, okay, my hair felt way more hydrated, but this curl cream, I can actually feel now that it's a little heavy on my hair. I can actually feel the weight of this product in my hair. How interesting, how cool. What if I use way less of the curl cream? Oh, wow. Now I've got more hold and more moisture packed together. I just had to use half the amount that I used of my leave-in conditioner. You can start playing around with maybe subbing in a curl cream. You can maybe go buy you a really fun foam to like squeeze into your hand, and it grows. It's a mousse. I said the wrong thing. Grows into the size of a softball. You can maybe start adding a mousse to the very end. Just scrunch that in right after you're done with the gel. See what that does. Does it increase your wash day longevity? Does it add more definition? Does it add more hold? What does adding this mousse do? At the end, oh, what if I put the mousse underneath the gel? How does that affect my results? You can start just adding in one more product at a time, taking very good notes and seeing what happens. Also, at the end of the 30 days, it probably will be time to clarify and deep condition. If you didn't start that way, I would recommend at that point, you can probably go pick up your tiny little bottle of clarifying shampoo and a couple packets of deep conditioner to clarify and deep condition with at the end of the 30 days. Then go back and style your hair normal and see what happens. And the results usually do shock and blow the mind.
So that's something that I've learned is like, and you can correct me on your thoughts on this, Courtney. I feel like when you're at a troubled area or whatever you want to call it, clarifying and deep conditioning is a really great way to just reset it. Like when I'm having funky frizz or, just like weird hair and it's just like, I don't know what's going on. I will usually, and of course with limits, I don't do that every week, and I usually try to do it once a month. Do you clarify once a month? Is that what you talk about?
That's the baseline. Yeah. Again, that tends to work for the broadest range of humans.
Right.
I live in a place where we have incredibly hard water, and I am an incredibly oily, greasy person. Guess what? The best degreaser ingredient is that mankind has discovered.
Clarifying wash.
It's a sulfate. That's why Dawn dish soap is all sulfate.
Right.
It cuts through grease. So unfortunately, some of these sulfate-free cleansers don't quite get to all of my oil and grease. I actually have to clarify and deep condition more often. I have to clarify and deep condition twice a month.
Okay.
But that can be too much for some hair types, and going once every 2 months, which may be fine for a particular person, may be way too long for another. So that's why I kind of meet in the middle and say 1-ish month should be good.
It is good to keep in mind though, like sometimes, and this is again why tracking and troubleshooting everything is so important. Sometimes if like you get a product and it's working really well and you're like, yes, and then all of a sudden it starts not working and you're like, oh, something's wrong. Sometimes it's not that you need to change out that product. Sometimes you just need to clarify and then start over. That happens often. Like I do once a month, at least. If it's a summer month where I'm like outside and sweating a lot and all of that stuff, I'll do it like twice a month. But yeah, that is something you will need to do. The other thing I like to tell people is like, in that 30 days, don't feel like you have to go switch out everything. I think you said this, Courtney, like one product at a time, and make it something that's noticeable. Like one thing I've noticed is not super impactful as long as you're using something, you know, curl friendly, is like a shampoo. Shampoos to me are usually like pretty stable, and it's not like going to make or break my hair specifically. The things that really change my hair are leave-in conditioner and deep conditioner, especially the deep conditioner. So if you find something that you're like, this is really not making a difference, just stick with it and experiment with something else like a styler or deep conditioner that is going to make a bigger difference. And I think I want to hear your thoughts when I'm done here, Courtney. I think the reason why the shampoo is because it's a quick process, it rinses out, and it just has the goal of like cleaning your scalp. When it comes to conditioner, especially, it's like treating your hair and like replenishing it, and the leave-in conditioner. And then the styler is like how it's going to actually hold your hair. That stays in your hair.
Right.
So I think that's why I found those things have bigger impact to me than like a shampoo or even like a clarifying wash. Like those have been pretty standard that like, as long as it's curl friendly, it usually works pretty good for me. But I want to hear your experience with that as well, Courtney.
I tend to be more focused on the base of the wash because I look at products and they build up on my hair. Thank you, low porosity. So I agree with you that it's usually not the make or break. You can kind of sort of use just about any curly hair friendly cleanser. And when I say curly hair friendly cleanser, what I'm referring to is sulfate free, silicone free, drying alcohol free product that foams and lathers. Those tend to, not make the biggest difference.
Right.
But that being said, if you make a blanket statement like that, I have been using the same set of shampoo and conditioner, rinse out conditioner, and then kept all my stylers the same and switched those out and seen giant differences in my hair. But I think that's because I get so oily, greasy so quickly, so easily.
So it's good to remember that, again, and I know you'll hear us say this over and over because I just can't say enough how different everyone is and how there's no one size fits all. But right. I do like hearing that with like different perspectives of like how that has changed your wash day.
I definitely agree with you. I see a visible impact when I switch out leave-in conditioner, when I switch out my gel. If I'm using a light hold gel versus a hard hold gel, I'm going to see a wild difference. Mm-hmm. But I do think that there has been a trend that I've seen on the Instagrams of people completely disregarding shampoo and conditioner like it's not a big deal. And it actually does play a factor. It is the base. Mm-hmm. And if you are using a shampoo that's curly hair friendly, but it's way too stripping for your hair, mm-hmm. it's going to make a difference. You're going to be fighting that stripping shampoo the whole way through your wash day because you're going to be trying to add moisture back the whole time. Whereas if you just used a curly hair friendly cleanser that's like more gentle, the whole wash day would be affected afterwards. Not hugely, not wildly, but like to some extent.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I like that perspective for sure. Two more things I want to talk about, and then we'll do a Q&A. Is that okay with you, Courtney?
Yeah.
Okay, so one is stylers, especially pertaining to gels and hold, because I think something that can be confusing, just because the 90s just destroyed everything for gel with like the stringy, crunchy look, right? And there's a lot of misconceptions around gel. So I want to talk about first of all, I use a Stronghold gel and I have soft.
What's your favorite?
Pardon me?
What's your favorite?
Honestly, Aussie Instant Freeze is just like, it's just the best product. It's so affordable. It works so well for me. Of course, I love just a homemade flaxseed. And what's the brand? She does it's like a girl on Instagram. She started her own little shop. She makes flaxseed.
She's completely rebranding. I cannot remember the name of her new brand. It used to be My Soigné.
My Soigné. I didn't know she was rebranding. Is she going to rename?
That's a great question. I would have to go to her Instagram page and look.
I haven't looked, but I do like her pre-made flaxseed gel. I always
love
good. Flaxseed. Yeah, it's really good.
It's spendy, but it's good.
Yeah, I agree with that. But can we talk about stylers? Just touch briefly on mousse versus curl. And you've talked a little bit about this, so it doesn't have to be super in depth. But I do think that is very confusing with like, once you do, like, you start basic and then you want to start experimenting. I felt like I don't even understand what goes with what, like curl cream, gel, and mousse, or like, some girls do mousse, gel, mousse, gel. I feel like that can get a little out of hand, but yeah, talk to us a little bit about stylers.
The way I organize this in my brain, because I love categories, I love them so much. It helps me organize all of this mess because it is kind of a lot. I organize it by hold. How much hold are each of these products going to give me in the end? Now, the more hold something has, typically the less moisture is going to be in the product. So I've like created this whole hold scale in my mind.
Okay.
You go up the scale, it gets more drying to the hair. You get lower on the scale, it gets more moisturizing, but it also has less hold. On the bottom of the hold scale the very bottom where there's no hold at all would be leave-in conditioner. Okay. You can style your hair with leave-in conditioner. It's not going to hold your hair in its curl families at all. Then you go up to curl cream. And this is kind of not fair because usually curl creams are more hydrating than leave-in conditioner, but they also have more hold. So they go up one rung on the hold scale. Then we have custards. Custards are usually labeled custard. Sometimes they're labeled souffle, but these are products that are gel-like consistency. They're usually very thick and they have lots and lots and lots of moisture, but very little hold. The most popular one I've seen on the TikToks has been Kinky CurlyColleen Custard. That stuff is super moisturizing. You can pick it up at Target and it's got light hold. That product is almost heavy. It is really good for very, very, very thirsty hair types that have a nice structured, tighter curl pattern that don't need to be held in their curl shapes quite so much, that really require lots of moisture. Another example that's like pop culture, a lot of people have talked about it in the past, has been Mop Top Custard. Same deal. Then you move up to, I would say, light hold gels. And they usually will tell you their level of hold on the product. They'll say crunchless curls, light definition, light hold, things like that. They tend to be more moisturizing. They tend to be lighter weight. They tend to not have just tons of hold. Then in my mind, the next thing that comes in would be a foam or a mousse. Those actually, the mousses, the ones where you push the button and they grow, are pretty moisturizing for the most part when they are curly hair friendly. They're drying alcohol free, they're sulfate free, they're silicone free. They tend to contain a lot of polyquaterniums, and polyquaterniums are category of ingredient that we haven't talked about a lot, but they are really great at helping higher porosity hair hold in moisture. Foams tend to be slightly less hydrating than a mousse, foams being the ones that you have to pump and pump and pump, and it doesn't grow. It just kind of sits in your hand. They tend to be fairly lightweight, fairly light hold, but they also contain lots and lots and lots of water. So they do add moisture and hydration back into the hair when you use them. Then you've got your medium hold products. I'm completely blanking on a really solid medium hold product. I actually would honestly categorize the Aussie Instant Freeze as a medium hold product.
I agree.
The flaxseed gel, medium hold product.
Yep.
Because they're moisturizing. They've got lots of moisture in them. But when you get up to the hard hold gel category, these are the hair gels that are kind of like congealed hairspray. I'm thinking the Chi Infra Gel, the BioSilk Rock Hard Gelée, Harry's Gel. All of these are like suck water and moisture out of your hair, lock it into place, really, really, really lock it down. Most people don't need the top category.
Right.
If your hair is prone to dryness at all, and if it does have some wave and curl, guess what? It's going to be prone to dryness. Those crazy hard hold products, you're either going to have to really buffer them with a moisturizing product underneath that's going to block the hard hold product from sucking the life out of your hair, or you won't even need it at all. You can just use something that's lower down on the scale that's more moisturizing but has slightly less hold.
And I don't think those gels are, I don't even know if they're actually designed for hair like ours. Those super, super strong hold.
Technically,
like when you're really trying to hold your hair back, or like it is like a liquid hairspray.
Yes. Technically, when you plug the ingredients label into these ingredients checking websites, they're technically curly hair approved.
Right.
The way I use those life-sucking gels the most, and I personally love those with a burning passion.
Okay.
Because of my looser curl pattern, it needs a lot of structure, okay. All the structure. I use lots and lots of water in my hair. I usually make sure my hair is dripping, soaking wet. I cannot damp style with those super hard hold gels. And I get my hands wet, put the gel on, really emulsify them, maybe even get my hands wet one more time and then scrunch them in. I'm kind of watering them down. I'm kind of diluting them. But they do have a place for certain curl types. But most people with wavy curly hair aren't going to be on one extreme or the other. Right. There are some people who just style their hair with leave-in conditioner and they're perfectly happy. And then there are people like me who want such hard hold that their hair is like all the hairspray. So
within that, what I want to touch on is just how to use those without making your hair crunchy. And you already talked about that a little bit. I do what you do. Like my hair has got to be soaking wet. I wet my hands, and I even add, depending on what level of like, if my hair is really needing moisture, I will add a leave-in conditioner to those gels, a little bit with my gel and water. It's like the perfect cocktail. I have found somehow that really softens it up.
Yeah.
Probably because it is adding the moisture in that it's missing, but it does still get a good amount of hold. And same with mousse. I find mousse can make my hair crunchy if I'm not applying it in the right way.
It's so easy to grab too much.
Exactly.
Like, that's where I get into trouble with mousses. I like a foam because I can do 3 pumps and it's always going to be 3 pumps.
Yeah, that's true. So with mousses, I do the same. Like the other thing is, if you are struggling with crunchy, like you're getting crunchy or strings, my
crazy cast,
is you need more moisture and or to apply. And like even like Courtney said, I apply on dripping wet hair in the shower, and then I go back through and I like literally scrunch water into my hair like while I'm styling. Yeah. And it seems like it's counterproductive because you're rinsing it out, but it's not going to rinse out. It's just diluting it enough to allow it to go throughout your whole hair strand.
It fully distributes it because water is the carrying agent.
Right.
And if there's not enough water in your hair, there's going to be strands of your hair that get completely coated and then strands of your hair that don't get any product at all, which is going to make it for a very not cohesive, stringy, frizzy look. The wetter your hair is, the more curl clumps there's going to be, more water that's going to be in your hair to help that hard hold product distribute through your hair.
Exactly. Do you have any other tips? Yeah. Any other tips about or applying or even maybe troubleshooting, like with a Stronghold Gel that you just can't get to work? Like any other tricks that you would recommend?
Use less. I tell everybody this, and I've gotten made fun of wildly on the internet for this, but I don't care because it's a great tip. Okay. Go to the Walmarts, go to the Dollar Tree, go somewhere, buy yourself teaspoon measurers and a command hook and hang this in your shower. Dang it.
There you go. I like that.
If you can try and eyeball the amounts of gel in your hand, but if you don't measure it, you are not going to know for sure how much product you're using. If you keep getting crazy, stringy, crunchy curls, half the amount of gel you're using. And then if it's still crazy, stringy, crunchy curls, half it again. You may have been using 4 tablespoons of gel when your hair really only needed 1 teaspoon. Mm-hmm. Guess what? I use 1 teaspoon for my hair. I've got a lot of hair. It's fairly long. I only need a teaspoon of gel to achieve the hold that I want. So keep lowering the amount of gel you're using. If you still have crazy crunchiness and you're down to 1/4 a teaspoon of gel, I would strongly suggest increasing the amount of leave-in conditioner and or curl cream you are putting underneath that product. Again, measure it and then increase the amounts. I know this is a giant pain, but until you learn by muscle memory exactly what 1 teaspoon looks like in your hand, and you're only going to learn that by doing it hundreds of times over and over, this feels right. This feels like 1 teaspoon of gel. You got to keep measuring it till you get that muscle memory there. I know that seems crazy. I know it seems silly. I appreciate the people who've made fun of me on the internet for this, but
I think that goes back to the importance of, like, I don't like the idea of tracking diligently. Like, that sounds like, at first I was like, I don't want to track what's working and what's not, like, because it just seems like a pain. But like, at the end of the day, if you want results and you want to truly understand what your hair needs, like, it just goes back to diligence, like trumps all. You have to.
How dedicated are you to this process? The people who become the crazy, awesome bodybuilders who are completely shredded, they track every morsel of food they put in their bodies. Yes. They track to the minute the number of calories in their heart rate and da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. How extreme do you want to be? You don't have to make this extreme, but if you want to, and really dial in the results and really get the results that you're wanting, go for it. I'm a perfect example of this. This is my product-free hair. Can I ratchet it up to 100? Absolutely. Can I wash and air dry my hair and let it go and do nothing? Why, yes, I can, because I'm pregnant and I don't feel like it.
And this also goes back to, I just want to mention, like, you don't have to do this forever. This is like a learning process. You get to a point where you're just like, like, sometimes I forget even how I style my hair, because it's so in the shower, I'm just like, this goes here, and it's like so part of who you are. So it's not like you have to do this forever. It's just a learning curve of understanding your hair and how products are affecting it and what their purpose is, and then troubleshooting. And then you will get to a point where it's like, you got it.
Yeah.
You're always learning, but you still, because your hair will change and the weather will change, but you get to a point where like you have a good understanding of what to do.
You spend enough time touching and feeling your hair and paying attention, you will intuitively begin to learn what your hair wants and needs in that moment. You cannot do this process in a month. You cannot do this process in 6 months. It does take time. Breathe, enjoy the process. You are undoing years and years of muscle memory of one way of doing your hair. Mm-hmm. Did you learn to style your hair when you were middle school and you started doing your hair, when you were learning how to do your hair in middle school, it took me 2 hours to do my hair in the morning and it still looked like garbage. By the time I got to college, I could wash and style my hair in 15 minutes and it looked pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Like, if I do say so myself, thank you very much. There was years worth of practice going on there. And now you all of a sudden want to start wearing your hair wavy curly. Give yourself the grace to learn this process. Embrace the bad hair days, grin and bear it. It's okay. That's why the messy bun exists. All right. And messy buns look extra cute on a bad wash day. I'm just saying there's something about the wildness that the bad wash day adds to the messy bun. That's just like, I did this all on purpose.
So true. Okay. So I'm going to open up Q&A now. You can put them in the comments, and while you guys are typing, and if we covered everything, great. I think we covered more than I was even expecting. So thank you for being so diligent, Courtney. You're awesome.
Courtney's a talker. I'm sorry.
I love it. It's very thorough. And I feel like that's very much what people need. So while we're waiting for any questions, I was thinking of another question that was, how do you feel? And can you talk about pulling from different product lines versus using complete product lines? I like when people stick with a product line, especially in the beginning. I understand if you're going to grab, like if you're really on a budget and you don't want to make a big investment, I get that. And if you want to just grab the dollar store or the budget friendly stuff off the shelf.
The lower end in price point you go, you're not going to find a complete wash day that is 100% curly hair friendly. Aussie, I love you, but not all your products are curly hair friendly. So like you might grab the Aussie gel. You might grab the Suave. They've got a really nice sulfate-free cleanser now, but their conditioner is terrible. And then you might also grab like the Garnier conditioner in the middle. Like you're going to be picking in products that are just curly hair friendly when you get under a certain price point. But you get above a certain price point and you can buy something all from one wash day.
And I am under the very convincing belief that these companies do know what they're doing. Like people who make these products, they do know what they're doing.
There's such a science to all of the marketing.
And these products, it's like skincare or anything else. They do complement each other. So I tend to try to convince people or at least give them the, advice to purchase a complete product line. And I don't mean like you have to buy the biggest package of Curlsmith or whatever, but even if you get those basic products,
you're 4 products from one brand.
Yeah. Exactly. If you stick with a brand, you're going to have a better chance of having consistency throughout, like moisture, protein, cleansing, hydration, all of that stuff, because they are designed to complement each other. So don't feel like you can't. Obviously, all of us do grab from different lines. I like to tell people, until you understand more about the products and your hair and what your hair needs, try to stick to a line, because that just makes it just adds another level of complexity when you are grabbing from different lines, because you do have to really understand how that stuff works together.
What are the 3 brands that you, Colleen, point people to pick their beginner wash day lineup from? Just 3.
So I have a whole recommendations page, because I'm like, I keep giving this because, all the complexity of curls, but Curlsmith is one for sure. I've had a lot of luck with Curlsmith. I love their company. It's a great brand. They're easy to use. Yeah. Curlsmith is one.
Accessible.
If you're talking drugstore, honestly, and I know that Shea Moisture gets a lot of hate, but I think Shea Moisture, I've had such good experiences with it with my hair. Yeah. If your hair is similar to mine, and a lot of people who come to me do have similar hair to mine, right? I recommend Shea Moisture or Curls. Like the Blueberry Biss.
I love Curls. I completely, there's a drugstore line that has all curly hair friendly products in it. Okay, there you go.
Oh, yeah. And that one, to me, if someone's more wavy than curly, I'll recommend Curls. Mm-hmm. If someone's like my curl or more, I'll recommend like a Shea Moisture if it's drugstore.
Okay, I can totally get on board with that. My one knock on the curls is that they're gel can be a bit drying and it's light hold. So like it's a really tricky product to use if you're a beginner.
And here's the other thing, because this is contradicting what I just said. I feel like when it comes to using a complete product line, the product that you can get away with using something else is gel. Don't you think? I have learned, like, I feel like I
see what you're saying.
Aussie instant freeze with pretty much anything, and it almost always works. Or like especially a flaxseed gel, because flaxseed is pretty like neutral. It is not high in protein, but it does have some protein in it.
I have not had anyone have like a flash drying reaction to flaxseed before.
Right.
So that's good.
Right.
Okay.
So what about you?
Oh, like wait, you did too.
Well, oh yeah, those are, the other one is if they're gonna purchase something like a little bit more pricey is Evolve. I do like Evolve.
My one knock on Evolve is that their cleansers are really cleansing, like really cleansing.
I haven't noticed that, but I will say their reconstructive treatment is very intense.
Okay, I haven't tried all of their stuff. I've tried like their curls cleanser and then their shine cleanser.
Yeah.
I haven't tried all the things, but both of those, I tried those and I was like, ooh, I'm squeaky. I'm squeaky.
I would like for them to get something in between their conditioner and their reconstructive treatment.
Okay.
That's like their deep conditioner. But it would be way too heavy for your hair. Like it makes my hair like a little bit stringy. I can work with it where if I, water it down a little bit or apply it in certain areas, it can work. But
Evolve is really cool because it's such a high quality, clean line and it's accessible. Like I can walk into my natural grocers and pick it up. So like that gets bonus points for me. For me, I like to combine high quality and affordable. Okay. And so I tend to point people in one direction.
Okay.
And well, two directions. I take that back. I am in total agreement with you about Curlsmith. Okay. Love it. Not terribly. Okay. It's not wildly affordable, but you are trading off incredible formulations and accessibility for that higher price tag. Wow. I love my pregnancy brain. This is great. You can walk into your Ulta and pick up these products today if you want to. And the other place that I point people is Jessie Curl. You can do they've got everything you need. They're on Amazon. They're fairly affordable. And it tends to work really, really, really well for people who are just starting out. Mm-hmm. I actually don't tend to grab a whole lot of Jessie Curl products now because my hair doesn't require that much moisture anymore. But they're really user-friendly. They're very similar to like your standard sort of products. I like pointing people in that direction because I feel like they're easy and user-friendly. The last line that is coming to mind that is like very high quality that I had really good success with when I first started was Inner Sense. And I bought their little travel sizes, their little trial sizes, and loved it. It worked so well, but that's like way up on the high end of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I've tried their complete line, so I can't talk to that. I really like to experiment with products before I comment, but I will say I see a lot of people using it and having great results. I should actually put that on my list of one because it does look like a really great product.
The line is really cool. They cater to multiple different hair types too. That's something that if I'm going to recommend an entire brand for you to go and buy products from, I want the brand to have different lines within the brand that cater to different hair types. So fine, dry, like I want them to have a dry line, a moisturizing line, that kind of thing.
Right. Okay, cool. I think we pretty much covered everything. So thank you for jumping on, and everyone else, thank you for joining. Everyone watching the replay, thank you for joining. And I hope this was super helpful for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Colleen. This was a lot of fun.
Yep.